David a little bit ready for more action, do you think?
Yeah, I think, he's progressed well over the last couple of weeks coming off the injury. Each week we see improvement there and just what he's able to do and playing full speed and all those. And, we'll continue to get him in there and get him doing what he does best and find opportunities for him to impact the game.
Tommy is someone who kind of has his hand in the passing game and coordinating that. Just why have we seen just the struggles of the passing game, and what needs to change, for that part of the offense to really take off in the next couple of weeks?
The passing game really takes everybody on offense, from the line to the receivers, tight end. I mean, it's a sum of the parts, and it just feels like some of the inconsistencies show up when, one specific group doesn't do their part, and sometimes it's, the tight ends, sometimes it's the receivers, and, it just adds up that way. Like offensive football, you got to have everybody on the same page doing what they're supposed to do to have success, and, we're continuing to find ways to get that done and improve that. But it really takes ownership from each group of just, doing their job more consistently and finding ways to, affect the defense and really, create opportunities for explosive, create opportunities for run after the catch. And, it takes all of us working together to find ways to improve it.
How much do you attribute that to, obviously, kind of bringing in some new concepts, some new schemes, and just maybe the transition period, and all the guys kind of learning?
I think our guys have done a nice job picking up. There's a lot of consistency, and then the nuances that came in this offseason. I think our guys have done a nice job of picking those up. We just, again, got to continue to have everybody, striving to do their part and making sure that we can have success that way.
In kind of along those same lines, Bubba was talking about how they started slow one year in Indianapolis and then they went on a run and made the playoffs. And he said one of the things that year was they had a bunch of new guys on the staff. And you guys have a bunch of new guys, you're part of it, on the offensive staff. Does it take a while for, I guess, all those minds to come together and figure out who's doing what and how you fit?
Yeah, no, I think, staff cohesion is really important. I think, as leaders, Kevin and Ken did a great job from when we all got here of, building the cohesiveness amongst the staff and making sure that everybody was on the same page. And there's always learning curves or things that you go through with, anybody new. But I feel like we're all on the same page. We got to make sure that, we do our part as a staff as well to make sure our players are ready and prepared. And, I don't attribute a lot of that to any of the newness. I think we just, got to continue to find ways to improve, continue to find ways to allow our players to go out and play fast, play with confidence, and know what we're trying to get accomplished.
Tommy, you've obviously called plays at the college level, but, calling plays is calling plays in some regard. How difficult is it to, when things aren't, clicking the way it needs to, how difficult can it be to really find that one play to maybe, to get into that kind of rhythm as a play caller to where, you really feel comfortable with this call is going to pay dividends?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for, Kevin or on that. For a play caller, you want to call things that you have confidence in, that your players have confidence in. And, at the end of the day, you go into a week with a plan. Sometimes that plan can be adjusted throughout a game, but, I think we have confidence in those plays. And, yeah, I mean, when things aren't working, it's always hard, when you're in the middle of a game. And but, I think we've done a nice job of kind of digging down to, all right, these are the things that we believe in, these are the things that our players believe in, and let's try to execute those as well as we can.
It's hard to imagine that you guys can trade away Amari Cooper, your number one receiver, and then somehow your offense looks better the week after that. So what gives you the confidence that it can?
I mean, I think, look, Amari's a great player. Want him to have a ton of success. I think, but for all of us, we have to, when you lose a great player, it's okay, how do we, accomplish some of those things with the sum of our parts, and everybody stepping up, finding ways. Not one guy is going to replace Amari, but I think the sum of our parts can allow us to have success, and it challenges the other guys in the receiver room, challenges the guys in our room, challenges the guys in the running back room, that people need to step up and make plays when they're given the opportunities. And, I believe that we have guys that can do that. And again, it's going to be about all of us, the sum of our players, contributing to fill some of those things that Amari did for us for a long time here in Cleveland.
Along those lines, just what does Amari's departure sort of mean for the tight end group specifically, maybe getting David more involved and other guys in that room?
Yeah, obviously there will be potentially more opportunities. But I think, David, Jordan, Jeff, who's played for us the last couple of weeks, we just got to continue to strive to own our responsibility within the game plan. Like, there can't be any further pressing, can't be anything different in how we approach it. We got to be consistent in how we look at it. And when our number's called, we want to be reliable for Deshaun and for the rest of the team. And that's really what we're striving to do.
You guys look at the those two Bengals guys coming off the edge, right? Hubbard and Hendricks.
Yep.
And what stands out about those two guys?
And they play really hard. Run and pass. They compete. They finish. Obviously, Trey's produced, Sam's produced at this level. They have a fastball. They have a counter. They know how to get after the quarterback. We're faced head-to-head with those guys, both in protection and at the point of attack in the run game. So, just really trying to study, how they try to impact the game, what things they get to, and then also just our understanding of like, hey, we're going to have to strain on every play because these guys are not going to stop. And so I have a tremendous amount of respect for how they play the game, and, we're going to have our work cut out for us, but it's a challenge that we look forward to.
Crosby is one of those guys, and I think people refer to Hendrickson as a guy that never stops, like you were mentioning. Like, are they on like a different level than maybe some other guys in this league as far as the nonstop effort?
I mean, when you look at the edge guys that you play week to week, like there aren't a ton of guys that you're saying, hey, this is a, easy task. So that's kind of the life in the NFL when you have, really good players playing on the edges. And us as tight ends, we got to make sure that we're, right there.
Is that where Miles, going against Miles in practice, pays dividends when you guys pays off? When you guys get to the regular season?
Yeah, Miles is in a pretty unique class up there, you know what I mean? So, yeah, when we get our opportunities to try to touch Miles, that helps us get better for sure.
Couple more. The refrain has been that once all these other things start going right, that Deshaun will function a lot better. Can you just give us your thoughts on that whole concept?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think all of us have a responsibility to produce offensively, right? And that's not solely on the quarterback. It's not solely on one guy, one group. Like, we all have to own what we're doing offensively. And certainly we got to do our part. Like I said, we want to be dependable to the offense. We want to be dependable to Deshaun and make sure that we're able to produce when our number's called.
What kind of energy has it brought to you guys to see Nick back out there and knowing he's going to come back this week?
Yeah, I mean, from the moment, I was here, like Nick's a pretty special guy. I learned that pretty quick. And I think the respect that he's earned from the players, from the rest of the league, from this city, like obviously it's well documented at this point. So, when he walks out on the field, everybody notices. But it's really from a respect and a love that his teammates have for him. And so, I certainly know the guys in the locker room care deeply about Nick and are excited to have him back.
Just to go back to David for a second, just obviously he's been banged up this year. I mean, he banged up in training camp, and then the ankle, and then the knee pops up. I guess just how have you seen him kind of deal with that injury adversity where these things keep popping up and he has to keep working his way back?
He's been level-headed through it all. When the ankle first happened, he immediately said, I'll be back earlier than you guys think, which he was. So to his credit, he's worked his tail off to get back because he cares about this team and he wants to make sure that he's able to give whatever he can to help us, get things, ready to roll.
Have you contemplated using 4 tight ends at all?
Those aren't up to me, you know what I mean? Yeah. They make my grade sheet a little longer, but no, we're, whatever we can do to help, we're ready to do.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Well, let's start with Jim yesterday kind of called on the cornerbacks to step up their play and give the effort that not effort intensity-wise, but give the type of performance that you guys know they're capable of. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, ma'am. I think he's spot on. We hold ourselves accountable to what our standard that has been set. That's something very, very important to us. We talk about holding our best players the most accountable, and our best players, some of them on defense, are certainly in that room. So that's something that, our guys don't shy away from it. Luckily, the focus is always on the work with those guys, and we got the right guys in the room.
Brandon, thinking about recent years, think about some highlights from your group against the Bengals, like Denzel's pick 6 or Greg going up against Jamar Chase as a rookie. What is it about these matchups that these guys have really excelled when given the opportunity against the Bengals?
Sure. Opportunities multiply as they're as they're seized, our guys have really taken advantage of seizing those opportunities, being prepared, having attention to detail, and really executing with urgency. I think that whenever we get in, the AFC North or any time that we're playing on Sunday, like that's at the forefront of it, the urgency to execute for our team. And that's something that you see in these matchups.
MJ's kind of slow start to the season, maybe not playing the way that he's anticipated or expected. And I know Kevin said, it's kind of a matter of playing the cornerback position. What stood out to you about MJ and maybe some of the opportunities that you want him to kind of capitalize on?
Sure. The process is the process, right? As long as our guys have toughness, they have effort, they show passion. Obviously, a lot of those things that are in between that, like you can work on that. He's a young guy that works extremely hard, and he's also a young guy that has proven to be able to be resilient and bounce back. So, looking forward to him putting that on tape.
Kind of off of that, is it the way that you guys can adjust to, or get as you kind of see players over and over? The other team also, are teams adjusting to what they've seen out of Martin, now with multiple years? Are you noticing teams attacking him maybe differently now than they had previously?
I would say no. I think that the style of defense that we play, like the edge that we have and expectation over our group, is to win our one-on-ones. I know a lot of people talk about 50-50 balls. We don't call them that in our room. They're 80-20 balls. So having the opportunity to just win one or two more of those, they put our segment as well as him, they put us in a really good position to win on those.
What are your coaching points to Greg on that crossing, the shallow cross that went for a touchdown?
Yes, awareness of situations. He's a very smart player, so when we talk about just the details, just attention to detail and just the urgency to execute that detail.
Joe Burrow is off to a torrid start. Can you just talk about what you're seeing in Joe and just how well he's playing?
Sure. You know what? He is really improved just from being a young player to now being a veteran player. He's seen a lot of different coverages. Obviously, he has great offensive resources, and he's one that really processes information fast. We talk about you never grow broke taking a profit. He's very he embodies what that is. If he sees an open receiver, he gets it out of his hands fast so his guys can execute.
We saw your guys in camp this year. Martin was one guy. They really relished that opportunity to go against Amari in practice. How did he make your guys better?
First off, he was a great teammate. I think that's the first way that he made our team better. He stretched them in that aspect, from a communicator to his work ethic, how he handled his business. I think that, from a field aspect, anytime that you have a great competitor going against other great competitors, it really sharpens iron there.
I'm not trying to insinuate that you guys concede anything, but do you expect sometimes that because you guys play a lot of man and that's what's best for you guys, that sometimes there's going to be big plays and that's going to just kind of happen as part of the process of the game? And along those lines, just how much of that is acceptable versus how much of that do you kind of you understand versus how much you're trying to prevent it, I guess?
Sure. And the question that you asked about our style of defense and getting pick plays, correct? We talk a lot about expecting the expected. On our style of defense, what we do, expect the expected. Those things are going to happen. So with that, just the urgency just to execute. And then just stay ahead of plays. We have the right guys in the room for that reason. So us expecting the expected, stay ahead of those plays so that we can execute.
Brandon, I know you guys always use that phrase, rush and coverage, working together, but when you have Burrow who's getting the ball out so quickly right now,
Yes.
how much the coverage part of that, how important is that going to be if he's looking to get the ball out quickly for the pass rushers?
Extremely important. And how we can help in our 111th is eliminating garbage yardage. So spot tackles, being very assertive with our communication so that we can execute and really tackle well on the perimeter, so that we can force guys in the 3rd and 6 plus, which now he's holding the ball. Now we can go ahead and match our coverage with rush.
You mentioned Martin showing the ability to bounce back before. And I'm sure guessing you feel the same way about Greg. So I'm just curious, coming off the game he had against Philly and getting called out a little bit by Jim, how have you seen Greg handle this week?
3 things: play fast, attack the ball, execute. That young guy is a very resilient young guy. I think that, him having his first child, like, I think all of us, kind of helps bring out even another level of maturity. So, like, to have his leadership in the room, having somebody that really understands that, look, these things happen. That was last week. Let's put the focus on the work and let's go ahead and move forward. I think that I've really been proud to see how he's operated in that aspect.
Has Jamar taken his game up another level, even though it seems impossible for him to do so?
Yes, he continues to improve just like Joe. Like every year, he improves just with his technique and fundamentals as well. And then system-wise, how they're using him has helped, magnify some of his natural strengths.
Joe, we saw the Sunday night game against the Giants. Joe kind of show his ability to take off and run. I know it's not a big part of it, but have you noticed him, using that a little bit more? Using that pocket awareness and stuff to maybe utilize, like, and what pressure does that put on you guys as a position group and as a defense overall?
Yes, expect the expected, right? When we talk about rush and coverage working together, we got to make sure that we're winning second leverage, because when we are tight, we're expecting him to scramble. Our rush pattern up front, they're going to keep him in the pocket to capture him. We got to do a really good job making sure our coverage matches that rush. So on second leverage, we know that we have to win the one-on-ones.
Say two more. Whenever you guys play the Bengals, it seems like there's a little extra juice, particularly from their wide receiver group and your DB group. We know from out of practice, especially during training camp, your guys like to talk a lot. They like to talk a lot. Just how much does your group kind of embrace and relish the opportunity to match up with those guys in Cincinnati?
Sure. The thing that our group relishes the most is another opportunity to go out to perform for our team on Sundays. They really do a good job keeping the focus on the work. So when we talk about, like, competition, the competition is really intermingling amongst ourselves, making sure that we can apply our fundamentals consistently and that we can go out there and we can do the best for our team.
It seems like your main guys, Denzel and Martin, have been in and out of the lineup maybe more than in the past. How much of that is because they're dealing with injuries, and how much is you just want to keep everybody fresh?
I think that's probably like a 50-50 split. Our guys do a good job, but it also goes back to trusting the other role players that we have on our team, to come in, give us some relief so that when they are not on the field, we won't miss beats.
Did you have any reaction to the Brook Park news yesterday? Or surprise, anything like that?
Can you guys say one more time?
Did you have any reaction, maybe surprise, to the Brook Park news yesterday with the future of the Browns?
No, sir. Yes, good to see you.